In this podcast episode, Ben Shapiro delves into the current political landscape, focusing on the challenges facing the Democratic Party as it gears up for the 2028 presidential election. He discusses various topics, including President Trump's approval ratings, the Democratic Party's struggles, and the implications of recent box office failures like Disney's Snow White. Shapiro begins by highlighting President Trump's surprisingly high approval ratings, which hover around 50%. He notes that Trump's policies, particularly on illegal immigration and government waste, resonate with a significant portion of the American public. This popularity poses a significant challenge for Democrats, who seem to be struggling to articulate a coherent response to Trump's agenda. Shapiro references Bill Maher, a well-known liberal commentator, who criticized the Democratic Party for its incompetence and inability to connect with voters. Maher pointed out the burdensome regulations and high taxes in states like California, which have led to an exodus of residents seeking better living conditions in more conservative areas. Shapiro emphasizes that this trend reflects a broader dissatisfaction with democratic governance at various levels, particularly in major cities like Los Angeles, which are facing severe fiscal challenges. As the Democratic Party grapples with its identity, Shapiro discusses the potential candidates for the 2028 election. He notes that the party is at a crossroads, with factions vying for control. The traditional establishment Democrats are facing pressure from the more radical left, represented by figures like Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Shapiro argues that the party's current trajectory is unsustainable, as it struggles to balance the demands of its progressive base with the need to appeal to moderate voters. Shapiro points out that Cortez has emerged as a significant figure within the party, particularly among younger voters. He suggests that her brand of democratic socialism could resonate with a broader audience, especially if the party continues to distance itself from its establishment roots. He warns that if the Democratic Party does not redefine itself, it risks losing even more ground to Republicans. Shapiro highlights Cortez's recent rallies, which have drawn large crowds and generated significant enthusiasm among her supporters. He notes that her ability to connect with younger voters and her focus on class warfare could position her as a formidable candidate in the 2028 election. Shapiro argues that Cortez's rise is indicative of a broader shift within the Democratic Party, as it increasingly embraces a more radical agenda. He contrasts Cortez's approach with that of more moderate Democrats, suggesting that the latter may struggle to compete in a primary dominated by progressive ideals. Shapiro believes that Cortez's focus on issues like wealth inequality and corporate influence could resonate with voters disillusioned by the status quo. Shapiro also discusses the recent box office performance of Disney's Snow White, which has been widely criticized for its political messaging and casting choices. He notes that the film, which cost $270 million to produce, grossed only $43 million in its opening weekend, marking it as one of the worst-performing live-action remakes in Disney's history. Shapiro attributes this failure to the film's perceived wokeness and the backlash against its political messaging. He argues that Disney's insistence on infusing its films with progressive themes has alienated audiences, leading to a decline in box office success. Shapiro suggests that the company's current trajectory could jeopardize its financial stability if it continues to prioritize political correctness over storytelling quality. In addition to discussing the entertainment industry, Shapiro addresses the ongoing debate surrounding the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program (SNAP), commonly known as food stamps. He highlights a proposal to restrict the use of SNAP benefits for purchasing unhealthy foods like candy and soda. Shapiro argues that this move is a sensible approach to addressing the obesity epidemic in the United States, particularly among children. He expresses confusion over the backlash against this proposal, noting that it seems illogical to subsidize unhealthy eating habits with taxpayer dollars. Shapiro emphasizes the importance of promoting healthier choices for low-income families and suggests that the government should not support the purchase of junk food through welfare programs. Shapiro also touches on Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s recent comments advocating for the banning of cell phones in schools due to concerns about electromagnetic radiation. While he agrees with the sentiment of limiting screen time for children, Shapiro criticizes the scientific basis for Kennedy's claims, suggesting that they lack substantial evidence. He humorously posits that Kennedy's good policy ideas are often accompanied by questionable premises.